Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. This is my NFL Draft Prospect Special today. I'm highlighting David Bell, wide receiver, Purdue University. If you like the video today, please come and share it. I surely appreciate it here on 100 Yards of Football. And to my producer, Mr. Logan Landers, for making it happen this morning. And I'm Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. David Bell, love him as a football player. One more time, love him as a football player. I know a lot of people in this year's draft, 2022, they're like Jameson Williams out of Alabama. They like the Ohio State guys and Garrett Wilson and Chris Avellay. But let me tell you something about David Bell. Don't go sleeping on him. Warren Central, Indianapolis, Indiana, came out as a belly hole recruit. Decided to go to that smart school down the road. 65 North, West Lafayette, Purdue University. And boy, he did not disappoint. You think about Purdue. I think a very underrated football program because look at the players that he kind of put out there that's been pretty good in the National Football League. Len Dawson, Bob Greasy, Mike Phipps, Leroy Keys, Mark Herman, Rod Woodson, Drew Brees, Otis Armstrong, Kevin Sumlin. David Bell needs to be on that list. Let me talk about the young man's skill set. One thing as a receiver that's to your advantage, he can read defenses, A+. His awareness as a receiver, A+. High football IQ, A+. Fearless at 6'2", 205 pounds. Gritty, A+. Elite body control, A+. Tracking ball skills, A+. Out of the frame catches, A+. Footwork off the charts, quick in the first few steps. Has no false steps in changing direction, A+. Closes angles real good, A+. The burst, A+. The field vision, A+. The real-time processing as a receiver to play at the next level, A+. A lot of people saying he's not a burner. He's got good, decent, solid speed. So solid speed, I give him an A+. Then I'm going to go to his production. Career, 232 receptions, 2,900 yards. 21 touchdowns in 29 games. Consistent first team All-American. Consistent first team All-Big Ten. Game film this year. Plays big in big games. Michigan State this year. 11 receptions, 217 yards. Didn't take a back seat to the Ohio State receivers this year. He still put up 103 yards, even though Garrett Wilson and Chris Avellay were doing that thing for Ohio State that day. Third most first downs as a receiver in college football this season. So that's telling me he knows the importance of the game. Third most first downs by a receiver this year in college football. 0 fumbles. 0 fumbles. And top 10 in contested catches. That's a football player, brother. David Bell. Rocking it. Then when I think about his game, he's a guy very big, very physical. He got a little bit of Glenn Young and Danny Knight. They used to play for Mississippi State out of the SEC back in the 80s. Then he got a little bit of Ozzie Newsome before he became a tight end with the Cleveland Browns and before he was at Alabama. Then he reminds me a lot of Bobby Duckworth, who was on campus at the time when I was at the University of Arkansas from 1978 to 1982. Then he got a little bit of Larry Severs. Go on. This for our producer, Mr. Jeremiah Long, who makes it happen behind the scenes. This for the big orange. Go Vols. The great Larry Severs, who's a great receiver in the mid-70s. David Bell got some of that trait in him. He's a special football player. But most of all, right now, he's a borderline first rounder. And the only thing they're saying A lot of teams I'm hearing out there, word of mouth, they don't like his speed. He don't have elite speed. But let me repeat this one more time. He's got elite production. 21 games in 29 games, 21 touchdowns, 232 receptions, 2,946 yards. He was the biggest player on biggest stages, 217 against Michigan State and 103 yards against Ohio State. But you know what? When I think about David Bell at 6'2", 205 pounds, it reminisces me back to the 1985 draft. Pick one, I believe, 16th overall, Stocktonville, Mississippi. And they was killing this guy. And they even was talking about the competition he was playing. But he wasn't a burner. He was a 4'7" guy. At best. Might have been a 4'8". But he was quick. Like I said, David Bell, that footwork was outstanding. Quick in the first few steps. And you know who that gentleman was who went on? And maybe it's the best football player that ever played in the National Football League, pound to pound. His name is Jerry Rice. He ended up with 1,549 receptions, 22,895 yards, 197 touchdowns. And they were saying the same thing about David Bell. They're saying the same thing about David Bell with his speed. One thing about this life, you don't never underestimate nobody what's in their heart. And you know, Jerry Rice went on and said one more time, we talk about Jim Brown, we talk about Emmitt Smith, we talk about even Tom Brady right now. But Jerry Rice might be pound for pound the best football player that ever played this game at any position. And I see a lot of David Bell and Jerry Rice. Now, don't nobody get crazy now. I'm not saying David Bell's skill level and David Bell's next Jerry Rice. But what I'm looking at, I'm looking what the draft pundits are saying. It's almost the same talk about Jerry Rice as they were talking about David Bell. This guy's going to be a special football player. And whoever team drafts him, he's going to be productive. You better believe that. And one more thing about the man I just mentioned, Jerry Rice. I'm proud that Jerry Rice, January the 9th, 1914, Howard University. Mr. Rice is a Sigma man. I'm loving it. So my final words about David Bell, since everybody want to question his speed, it was a band out of Brooklyn, New York, 718, by the name of Strife. And they had a song that went like this. Y'all all want to start this party, right? Y'all want to start this party quickly? Set it off on the left, y'all set it off the left, y'all set it off. Set it off. Set it off the right, y'all set it off the left, y'all set it off. David Bell out of Purdue University, 232 receptions, 2,900 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 29 games. I wouldn't be surprised he sets it off like the young man out of Stocktonville, Mississippi, by way of Mississippi Valley State, Jerry Rice. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. And one more time, special thanks to my man, Mr. Logan Landers, for making it happen. Y'all be blessed. Set it off,